And if he wants to play Dillon, trot him out there. Keep explaining to us why he's playing, and it's going to show us in real time you don't know what you're talking about. Because you told us in the draft this was your hand-picked quarterback. It is the exact reason Shedeur Sanders doesn't get reps, because he's going to give every opportunity for Dillon Gabriel to throw his way out of purgatory. It's the reason he dropped back 58 times against the Steelers. The jig is up, Kevin. We understand what it is.
Apparently, Shedeur Sanders' head coach and Dillon Gabriel share the same agent, and now the internet's acting like it uncovered a secret episode of Keeping Up with the Quarterbacks. Fans are debating whether it's coincidence, strategy, or another nil-era conspiracy theory. Something definitely feels off, and it's not the Gatorade in the locker room. College football drama never sleeps, so buckle up, this storyline is only getting crazier.
At this point, it seems personal. It might not be personal for Kevin Stefanski, but it appears personal. And it's one of those situations where it's like, Kevin Stefanski, we don't care what you're telling us because your actions speak so loud, we can't even hear what you're saying. Your actions speak crazy loud. Like, if Shedeur Sanders was favored in your eyes, one, you'd speak better than saying, that's not my focus. What the hell you mean it's not your focus? Roster construction is your focus. The backup quarterback is your focus. Backups on the roster are your focus. Everything that dictates who plays in the game on Sunday, Kevin Stefanski, that should be your focus.
It's always the quiet ones, the coaches preaching evaluation and team development while the franchise burns behind them. Kevin Stefanski, Cleveland's calm captain, has somehow turned a quarterback decision into a full-scale corporate drama, watching stability slip while chaos brews in the locker room.
Yes, it does, but I just want to make the point that we just have to be better in every area, and we'll look at everything we do, including, how we're putting these guys in position to succeed. Are we doing enough? When I say looking at every position, are we doing enough with the quarterback position? Do we need to do a better job? And I think I know the answer is yes.
Why wouldn't you, just to see if it does anything to the offense, give him an opportunity to go in there and play?
Yeah, obviously my focus is where we are right now, Mary Kay. That's not my focus.
Turns out Kevin Stefanski and Dillon Gabriel, the QB he clings to like someone defending their favorite IKEA chair, may share more than shaky pressers. They reportedly share the same agent. Yes, the same guy representing both the coach and the quarterback. Coincidence? Suspiciously convenient.
So we're gonna go ahead and go play stupid, like Dillon Gabriel didn't get 52 passing attempts, get sacked 6 times, have a quarterback rating of 34, and look as bad as possible. And Kevin Stefanski continues to gaslight and tell people that, yeah, it's my decision, he gives us the best chance to win. Is he watching the same Dillon Gabriel that I'm watching? See, the thing is, when you hear all the narratives about Shedeur Sanders and it got nothing to do with football or...
Somewhere in a corner office, Agent Jimmy Sexton is likely sipping espresso, admiring the chessboard he arranged. Suddenly, the Browns' offensive decisions make sense, not good sense, but the kind that fits a political drama. It's less football strategy, more House of Cards maneuvering.
So Cleveland Browns insider Mary Kay has just reported that Kevin Stefanski is going to stick with Dillon Gabriel coming after the bye week. He's still leaving him in after a horrible performance this week, and majority of the other weeks he hasn't thrown for 200 yards, but in one game, 2 interceptions and a safety, nothing but 2 passes that were over 10 yards in the air, and he's still going to leave him in. This says everything about collusion.
If you've ever wondered why Shedeur Sanders, one of the most hyped rookies in the league, somehow becomes injured every time the starting job conversation gets too loud, maybe the answer isn't physical at all. Maybe it's contractual. Every time momentum swings his way, a mysterious back flare-up appears, a sudden ankle tweak pops up, or the coaching staff suddenly falls in love with stability again. It's almost divine timing, if divine intervention came from an NFL agent with a stacked client list and a conflict of interest clause longer than the Ohio River. We're told he's getting better every day, he's improving, he's locked in. The usual corporate football slogans. But translation? He isn't the chosen quarterback, at least not yet, and that's the only metric that matters in Cleveland. The excuses are polished, the messaging is rehearsed, and the pattern is impossible to ignore. Football? Sure. Politics? Absolutely.
Thing about Dillon and Shedeur is Dillon Gabriel started getting first team reps immediately after he was drafted. The team, Kevin Stefanski, the coaching staff, they said, this guy's ready for that. He's advanced. He understands the terminology. He understands how the offense operates. He's done this. He gets first team reps. He's ready to go. We're confident enough in him to trade Kenny Pickett and make him the backup quarterback. We're confident enough to make him the starter, and then we'll trade Joe Flacco and just get him out of here anyway, because we're confident in what Dillon Gabriel can do. He had all summer, all training camp, all preseason as that, the rookie that was taking first team reps. And
then came the discovery, a little nugget tucked away in the internet's shadows. Kevin Stefanski, Cleveland's calm-voiced architect of patience and process, shares the same agent as the college coaches who shaped Dillon Gabriel. Oregon's Dan Lanning, Oklahoma's Brent Venables, and UCF's Gus Malzahn all tied into the same cozy CAA network. A tight little circle where familiarity is currency, influence travels quietly, and loyalty often means more than production. It's like finding out your boss, your coworker, and your HR director all go to the same weekly therapy session. Suddenly, the puzzle snaps into place. You're not paranoid, you're just not on the group chat. Sure, someone will call it coincidence. The sports world is small. But the subtle nudges? The quiet maybe keep rolling with Gabriel floating through the Bluetooth of a German luxury SUV? That feels less like football and more like soft power politics dressed in team polos. And meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders, a player who could have written his own ticket anywhere, watches from the sideline behind a rookie whose biggest qualification seems to be proximity to the right business connections. Every preseason snap showed flashes, poise, precision, presence. The kind of traits that make certain decision makers sweat just a little.
Stefanski knew he was going to get asked this question. And your best response, knowing you were going to get asked this question, was, that's not my focus. Like, I do not understand why Kevin Stefanski at least put on a better front. And somebody let Kevin Stefanski know, like, bruh, your disdain for Shedeur is obvious, and or you just got to at least act like you like him more. Act like you're going to treat him like another normal backup quarterback. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, I care about.
Every time Shedeur's name starts gaining momentum, the same routine kicks in. Injury notes. Vague optimism. Then radio silence. Somewhere between he's progressing and we're sticking with Dillon, his rookie season has turned into the NFL equivalent of waiting for a restaurant buzzer that never goes off. And the players? They're reciting the script too. A starting guard recently said the team just needs to give Dillon time. Right, the timeless line teams use right before the coach gets fired and the reset button gets slammed. The excuses pile up like clockwork. Receivers didn't separate, the line struggled, the play calling was conservative, everything except the one obvious thing. The quarterback. Shielded by agency ties and just plausible enough deniability. Let's not ignore it, Dillon Gabriel's entire career has lived inside the same CAA ecosystem. Oregon. Oklahoma. UCF. Every key stop shaped by coaches tied to the same agency now representing his NFL coach. He didn't just enter the league, he brought the whole network with him.
For games, it's clearly obvious he is not anything close to what they told us. And all they've told us is that Shedeur is not any of that stuff. This is supposed to be Kevin's guy, and he can't even run the freaking offense for Kevin. But now it's been 4 games. In 4 games, you should have seen at least a throw, a play where you said, ooh. Now there you go. That's a play that a franchise quarterback or a good starter can make. Hasn't been a single one yet. 4 games. I don't care what anybody says. That's enough time to evaluate and say, it's not going to be there.
Only now, that family seems to have graduated to running an NFL organization, and one of their own, Shedeur Sanders, still can't get an invite to dinner. If you squint, it's almost admirable. A masterclass in loyalty disguised as leadership, wrapped in polished coach speak and post-game platitudes. Stefanski isn't just backing his quarterback, he's protecting the ecosystem that elevated him. Because in the NFL, merit matters, just not quite as much as relationships. And that's the twist, isn't it? For years, fans mocked college football's favoritism, booster politics, and internal alliances. Then the NFL peeked over and said, "Hold my headset." The Browns have turned quarterback management into theater. Not a conspiracy, a pattern. A carefully maintained loop where everyone inside the circle wins, except the one player standing outside it. Which brings us back to Shedeur. He's done everything right. Professional. Focused. Patient. Watching the drama unfold like someone observing a family argument at Christmas, smiling politely while chaos erupts. He could have gone to Baltimore. He could have gone to Philadelphia. But he chose Cleveland, the place that supposedly offered growth and opportunity. Only it turns out growth isn't universal here. It's selective. Reserved for the chosen few.
Nobody else is ready to play. Are we sure Dillon Gabriel's ready to play based on what we've seen already?
So what do you think is going on here?
I have no idea, but I'm willing to see what's behind door number 3. I'm willing to make a change for change's sake. Because what I've gotten over the last 4 games with Dillon Gabriel is a guy that I have serious questions about whether or not he's an NFL quarterback. Seriously.
So what does Kevin Stefanski want out of this?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out whether or not Kevin Stefanski wants to be the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Because to continue to stay the course with Dillon Gabriel based on the body of work that we've gotten just doesn't make any sense to me.
And the organization has the audacity to call this a competition. As if Shedeur is competing with Dillon Gabriel. He isn't. He's competing with an entire network of connected power players who made their decision before the preseason even kicked off. The NFL loves to sell meritocracy, earn your reps, seize your moment, perform and you'll rise. Cute. In reality, it's succession in shoulder pads, polished statements, hidden agendas, and everyone pretending it's about teamwork while maneuvering behind the curtain. The bitter irony? Shedeur earned it. He delivered in preseason. Controlled drives. Showed poise. Built chemistry even with players who mysteriously didn't make the roster, because apparently success is a threat if it doesn't support the preferred narrative. At this point, you start wondering if performing too well is the real problem. Imagine being Shedeur. You study, grind, absorb the system, outplay expectations, and just as opportunity approaches, a silent message from someone else's agent shifts the path. Meanwhile, Browns fans cling to cautious hope, watching an offense operate like a group project run by the one student who didn't realize there was homework.
Can't come out and say, we have to look at everything. And then, moments after, your hand-picked quarterback, the guy that you like, right? The guy that clearly you have an affection for or a belief in that you don't have in the other guy. You cannot, after he just bleeped the bed, you cannot say he's safe. You cannot, the two things contradict themselves. You cannot say, we have to look at everything, and Dillon's our quarterback. No, if you're looking at everything, you're looking starting with the quarterback.
But here's the silver lining, chaos has an expiration date. Eventually the mask slips. The offense sputters. The media stops smiling politely and starts asking the uncomfortable questions. And once whispers about favoritism turn into headlines, the neat little power circle starts to shake. Loyalty looks noble when you're winning, when you're losing, it becomes deadweight. And the Browns are inching toward that familiar point where patience turns into pitchforks and polite frustration turns into talk radio fire. Sooner or later, someone in that building will be forced to make a real decision. Not a PR-friendly one. Not a loyalty play. A survival move. Coaches can only cling to a narrative for so long before reality barges in, and reality here is simple. There's a talented quarterback wasting away on the sideline while the franchise pretends everything is under control. It's not under control. It's Cleveland. The crazy part? This never needed to happen. It could have been clean. It could have been fair. But when a player like Shedeur doesn't even see first-team reps after outperforming everyone around him, fairness evaporates. And right now, somewhere out there, Coach Prime is probably shaking his head, shining his sunglasses, wondering why the NFL insists on turning his son's development into a case study in organizational malpractice.
Dillon Gabriel is absolutely awful. I mean, you're talking about a quarterback that is small, he lacks escapability, and he's got a noodle arm. not exactly the combination that you're looking for when it comes to trying to elevate your team. If we didn't have enough evidence, what he did on Sunday, the 2 turnovers in the third quarter, absolutely egregious. And then, oh, by the way, backed up in the end zone, you get an intentional grounding for a safety. One of the most embarrassing moments that we've seen from any quarterback in Cleveland. Just to contextualize what we've seen from Dillon Gabriel, his 25.8 QBR is actually worse than the QBRs of Deshaun Kaiser and Kevin Hogan in the 2017 season when Cleveland went 0-6.
Say what you want about Deion Sanders, he raises competitors, fighters, people who earn it. And now his son is sitting in the NFL watching politics beat performance. There's a poetic tragedy in that. The Browns, a franchise forever hunting its savior quarterback, may already have him, but they're too busy protecting the guy with the right business ties to notice. But pressure always finds a crack. The fan noise will rise. The media will sharpen. Analysts will stop tiptoeing. And when the calm facade finally splinters, Shedeur will be there ready, patient, unshaken. The ultimate irony? The player they shelved might end up saving the very season they tried to script without him. Not a comeback, a vindication. A masterclass in staying ready so you never have to get ready. When this house of cards collapses, and it will, the only one standing tall will be the one who never stopped preparing. And that's the punchline. Cleveland, kings of accidental comedy, once again turned dysfunction into strategy theater. Stefanski will keep selling patience. Gabriel will keep developing. And somewhere, Jimmy Sexton will keep cashing checks, convinced the system still works until it doesn't.
How hard is it, how tough is it for you guys to have such a good defense for you to be out there getting 5 sacks and putting the team on your back and just to not have any offense to go with it?
It doesn't get any easier. Each week you ask me, so.
How do you feel about your performance now? Does the loss diminish how you feel about your performance today at all, I guess?
I would throw the whole performance away for a win.
Cleveland Brown fans, sit this one out. Let me step in for a moment. Yeah, to the coaching staff and ownership of the Cleveland Browns, what on earth are you doing? This Gabriel kid, 4 yards per attempt. 4 yards!
The fans aren't fooled. They've lived this story too many times. It always ends with big promises, clever excuses, and another season full of what-ifs. But this time, there's a twist, because the truth isn't hiding anymore. People see the connection now. The agent. The network. The polite press conference language masking a quiet, coordinated reality. Once it's visible, you can't unsee it. So yes, Shedeur Sanders' head coach is tied to the same agent who helped shape Dillon Gabriel's college path. Call it coincidence. Call it politics. Or call it what Cleveland fans call it, just another chapter in a franchise where drama never sleeps and quarterbacks rotate faster than excuses. Either way, the clock is ticking. Talent doesn't stay buried forever. And when the moment comes, the irony will be beautiful. The coach who insisted he'd evaluate everything will have no choice but to finally evaluate the one player he ignored. The one who stayed patient. Stayed prepared. The one whose story lived in the margins until he picked up the pen and rewrote it himself.